What's up, guys? It's Jerry Rigged in the workshop today. Going to show you a little work on a piece. Here we go. Bought this shooting gallery broken gun, and we're going to see if we can't make something cooler out of it. Craftsmanship. It's not pretty, but no one's ever going to see it. And now I can move on. So I've got this piece of machinery. I honestly don't know what it's from. I often buy junk, especially if it's mechanical, in the hopes that I will use it in the future for something. I've had this laying around for a while, and future's now. So, at one point this was electrical, but I don't know anything about electricity. So I'm going to try to make it manual for this piece. This is exactly what I'm talking about. There's scissors right there. I'm using these dull tin snips just so I don't have to get out of my chair, which is ridiculous. So this is the piece that we're going to try to move manually, but a lot of this other stuff is in the way, so let's get rid of it now. I think I need this piece. We're going to get rid of everything we don't need, which is most of it. Still works. I'm going to try to tie into this little tip there with the string or something attached to the trigger. But usually what I plan on doing is rarely what I end up doing, so we shall see. So this is the point where got the outer piece built, and now it's about making the mechanics work. I always want to make these broken pieces do something they're not supposed to do originally. So my first plan was to have this trigger mechanism attached to the wheel mechanism, and every time you pull the trigger the wheel turns. Unfortunately, I don't think this distance that this little piece travels is far enough to pull that. I think this distance is too long for that. So we're going to change plans and try to make it where all you do is when you turn and aim this, the counter turns, and maybe we'll do like a hits and misses thing here, and I'll have two wheels and have a little functionality with our aesthetic. So let's see if we can make it work. Okay, so here we are roughing it in. I've got these little eyelet screws here. I've got our dowel through here. Cut out the part where I tried to put the dowel in before sticking this in. That'll be in the deleted scenes. So basically the little eyelet screws are here to try to keep this streamlined. And we're going to run our Fauxlk twine up here. Got a hole in our dowel. Ooh, first try. So that's there. And everything's here. So then we aim. Oh yeah. Aim up, seems to work. Turning to the left. Alright. You have to shorten this, I think. But I think this is gonna work. Okay, so I wasn't liking how this is all set up. This angle here is just kind of flaccid. I wanted a more streamlined look when it's at rest, cleaner line. So what I've done here is got some upgrades to some of the original stuff we had. I swapped out my twine for some high test fishing line, and we've attached our little counter here, with a little piece of plywood to cut out. So really what I was looking to do is keep this straight, and also there's nothing really holding this in any kind of permanent way. So I've got a spring from a screen door from another failed project. So, and we replaced our wooden dowel with lag bolt, and I just threw some random washers on here for the moment because I needed the space. So what we're going to do is straighten it all out, get some good tension here, and it keeps us a lot straighter up top. And that is much more functional. So we're in business. Okay, so we've gotten about as far as I planned ahead of time on going as far as the mechanics of this go, but I just wasn't happy with how non-functional this trigger is. There's nothing moving it but gravity. You get no response pulling on it, and it's just not very fun. But all I really have to work with is this little bit of movement that you get right there. So we're going to see if we can't rig it up to where when you drop the hammer, we get a nice satisfying sound to go with it. Okay, flash forward about 12 hours, and I think I finally come up with some sort of contraption that we can use to ring this belt. There isn't enough time lapse in the world to show you how I got here, but I think this is at least a worthwhile shot at it. So I've got this, and then like any good little chimpanzee, I've made my own little tools here to try to weave this all up in. So let's see if we can't get going here. Alright, here's our basic mechanism here. We've got our little plunger. I wanted something with a lot of surface area to give us the best chance of hitting the bell no matter what the angle we were at. It's probably a little too big, but it's what I had laying around, so we're going to go with it. And then I'm not sure I'm going to need this, but I cut a little piece here to kind of hopefully keep this centered and streamlined a little bit so it wouldn't swing wildly around. And hopefully it won't split to pieces when I screw it in here. So let's see what we get. Alright, so we've got all our pieces in here. I tied my strings a little too short. My measurements weren't very great, surprise, surprise. Everything still fits and functions. No one's going to see it anyway, so we're going to move on. That is the problem with designing as you build. You can engineer yourself into a corner and you can't take a step back without tearing a lot of it apart, and I don't want to do that, so we're just going to move on. So the inside's working. Our last real hurdle was finding something to fight back against the weight of our plunger and push against this trigger. I had a severely over-engineered solution for this, but I took the spring out of my mechanism up here and I just threw it behind the trigger. It's not the most beautiful or elegant looking thing, but it's a hell of a lot simpler and it works. So if I can find a way to make that a little more permanent, we're going to call it good. Okay, got our little plate here on our counter. I aged the metal with some soot and a little bronze leaf. Did the same thing to the coin mechanism. And just when I was thinking we were about to be done, ready to button everything up, as is the case with all happy accidents, I inadvertently left my flashlight inside when I was putting the front face on and realized that this looks way better than this. So how are we going to rig that up? Okay, had some camera issues, so we were going to jump a little ahead in time here, and you're just going to have to forgive the lack of time lapse. But basically what I've done is taken a lamp cord for a small candelabra bulb and wired a foot switch into it. And I had never done anything like that before. Only tripped the breaker once in the process. So now we've got this block here I've shimmed out to the distance we need, added to our bulb, powered by this switch. We're going to take our trusty coin slot mechanism. I've added a flat plate to the back here, a couple of screws. Now I've removed the piece that requires an actual coin to have to be in here. When we push this in here, that's going to touch and turn the light on for us.